All right. Hello, everybody at home.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, at home, yes. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. It's Alma.
Hi, Alma. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Are we all set online, Chelsea?
We are all set online. Just letting people in.
All right.
And the bathrooms are just across the hall. Right. Either.
Alma, can
Yes,
you hear me? I just thought I'd wave to you before we get started.
yes, I can't see who it is.
It's Doris.
Hi, with the light. I think with one of the lights, it's
I
blocking.
know it's the
one
sun
in the
comes
back.
in at exactly that time.
Yep.
Mhm.
Nice to see you.
Yep, good to see you
Some people there,
today.
anything.
It's a great day. I was out.
Oh, yes, me too.
Nice. Puts you in a better mood, doesn't it? When the sun
100%.
Yes. Sun shines, it just makes you feel better. I got my pen and my paper. I'm ready to take notes.
Para que me vean, yo sé que see me. At least, do you think it's fine there online? Muy bien. Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Great.
Hello, my name is Dianisi Torres. Mi nombre es Dianisi Torres. I work for University of Connecticut. I do nutrition education for the Windham County. That's what I do. I also am very involved with CLIC. I do lots of classes for the community here at CLIC. We do fitness classes, totally free. We do Serve Safe, which is the food preparation certification for people who works in kitchens, so looking forward to working kitchens. And opening food businesses. That's the certification is required for. So I'm the instructor and proctor, and we offer those classes here. So yo soy educadora de la Universidad de Connecticut, yo soy educadora de nutrición para el pueblo de Windham. También trabajo aquí en CLIC, estoy envuelta en CLIC hace más de 13 años, trabajando con la comunidad, educando a la comunidad, ¿verdad? En clases de nutrición, clases de Serve Safe, que es la certificación de manejo de alimentos, ¿ok? Y eso lo ofrecemos acá, ¿verdad? So, I am original from Puerto Rico, okay? I am a Latina, but I am not the expert on how to cook this delicious Puerto Rican food, okay? Yo soy puertorriqueña y no soy la experta cocinando esto, okay? So I have people with me, people who really know how to cook. They're the experts, and they are very famous in our town of Windham, Willimantic, because of their food, okay? So I have Nico here with me, Henry. So he is the cook, the actual chef of our class today, and he also, he's the one who prepares the meat and all the food for his family business, okay? They are running a business here in Cliff. ¿Cómo se llama tu negocio, Henry? El Rincon Sabroso. So that's the name of their business, and they have cards here that are getting passed around later. And so quiero presentarles, no soy la experta aquí que cocino, aquí quien cocina, y el experto viene siendo una familia de Willimantic, puertorriqueña, Jessica y Henry está aquí conmigo. Él es el real chef, ¿ok? Él es el que sabe cocinar. Yo soy puertorriqueña, ellos son puertorriqueños también. So la receta que vamos a compartir hoy es bien puertorriqueña, bien tradicional. So the recipe that we're going to be sharing tonight is a very traditional Puerto Rican recipe. Okay, so this is how I grew up. This is what I grew up eating. Esto fue lo que yo crecí comiendo, ¿verdad? And I come from the very low income side of the island. Okay, so there's low-income families living in the island, but not as low as having people living on the streets due to lack of housing. Okay, so it doesn't happen in Puerto Rico much. There's no people, families living on the streets. That doesn't happen. We receive help from the U.S. government. We receive EBT, food stamps, cupones, however you want to call it. So that's what we've been receiving for many years. So that's why we don't have the issue of having people living on the streets and suffering of lack of food because of all of the help that we receive from the United States because we're a Commonwealth. So nosotros en Puerto Rico yo crecí con esta comida es de familias pobres, ¿verdad? Crecí en una área bien pobre llamada Caserío. En esta área pues en Puerto Rico hay personas de bajo ingreso, pero no tan bajo como para vivir en las calles o no tener un shelter, un hogar, porque recibimos ayuda del gobierno, recibimos los famosos cupones, ¿verdad? Que son los cupones de alimentos y lo mismo que acá viene siendo el EBT. Básicamente, esta receta de hoy que vamos a estar compartiendo es una receta tradicional de cualquier día en Puerto Rico, okay? So this is a very, everyday recipe from Puerto Rico. So I'm gonna bring Jessica because Jessica is the expert and I don't want to be explaining, what's gonna be done because I have no idea. I do have an idea, but she knows the exact process. So yo voy a traer a Jessica ya mismito para que ella le explique la receta. But before starting the recipe, I really would like to tell you a little bit about the history of the food, the ingredients in Puerto Rico, how we get to the food that we are eating right now. So when people, me doing all of these classes all over the state and talking to people about foods and nutrients and diets and, what's healthy, what is not, and also comes a big part of it, which is the cultural aspect. Each of us has a very cultural, it has a very unique cultural aspect of our lives, right? So that depends on your experiences, how you grew up, and what you learned through the years and what you've been exposed to. So, bien importante que quisiera tomar un tiempo para hablar sobre la historia de los alimentos en Puerto Rico, ¿verdad? Porque trabajando con muchas personas acá en el tema de nutrición, viendo para todos los pueblos, por todo el estado, muchas preguntas sobre nutrición, sobre dietas, qué funciona, qué no funciona, pero más aún lo más que yo considero es el aspecto cultural, que todos, que cada uno de nosotros tenemos una cultura única, ¿ok? Que nos hace a cada uno diferente, ¿verdad? So, cuando nosotros nos referimos a los latinos, de Latinx, como usted lo prefiera llamar, no solamente estamos hablando de pique, de chiles, de arroz, de frijoles, ¿ok? Como una comida común en Latinoamérica. So, when me going all around, the states talking about, food and cultures, so it comes to, the knowledge of people. What do you know about my country? What do you know about Latinos? What do you know about Latinx? Okay, same with other, other aspects. So when we refer to the Latinos or the Latinx, whatever recipe, culture, people, we think of, we tend to box certain items, specifically when it comes to food, the chile, the most, spicy, hot, spicy foods. Also, what's the other thing? Tortillas, corn. Just because we're Latinos, we come from different Latin American countries. We have different cultures, different exposures, different aspects, even different agriculture according to our countries, okay? So because I'm Puerto Rican doesn't mean that I eat chile or spicy food, because we do not. We do not cook with anything spicy. We're not experts on chiles. That's not our culture. We are not eating tortillas. We don't eat tortillas. It's not part of our culture. It's not even in our menu. Okay, so we do make something else, but it's not a tortilla. It's not part of our, traditional cooking. So, it's important to me personally as an educator, to have the facts, the knowledge, the information right. Okay, if not, just don't say anything. Just stay quiet. If you don't know, just stay quiet. So I'm gonna say it in Spanish. Okay. So bien importante para mí tomar el aspecto de la educación y el conocimiento que tiene la persona sobre el aspecto cultural de nuestras recetas. Porque cuando hablamos de latinos, ¿verdad? Mayormente las personas piensan en chiles, en piques, en salsas picantes, en tortillas, todos los latinos venimos de diferentes países de Latinoamérica. Por ende tenemos diferentes culturas, diferentes tradiciones, tenemos diferentes recetas, tenemos hasta diferentes agriculturas, de acuerdo al clima que se pone el país, ¿verdad? Por eso nosotros en Puerto Rico no comemos chile, no hacemos nada picante per se así en receta, no somos personas de comer mucho pique. No comemos tortillas, no es parte de nuestra cultura comer tortillas, no está en nuestro menú. Tenemos otros tipos de cosas diferentes, parecidas, pero no tortillas. ¿Qué más, Jessica? No comemos. ¿Qué dicen que comemos? Los frijoles se cocinan totalmente diferente. You know, beans is one of these ingredients that we cook differently in each Latin American country. So habichuelas, frijoles se cocinan diferente. Okay, so now let me introduce you to the expert here, to the real person who's gonna really do the cooking. Le voy a presentar la cocinera real, la experta. So this is Jessica Rios. Jessica Rios is the owner and the cook along with Henry their family business, El Rincon Sabroso, which is based here at Click. So I'll be passing around, you know, later on, you know, her business card. So Jessica, tell us about you. Dinos sobre ti. Dinos de tu negocio.
Pues my name is Jessica Rios, that's my husband. Us food, Puerto Rican food like rice and beans, but us,
¿Lo puedes decir en español? ¿Te puedo traducir?
nuestro negocio, lo que le gusta más a la gente es el mofongo, que es el plantain, y los chicharrones. Hoy le vamos a hacer chicharrón de pollo.
Okay. So you know, her family business, her most famous dish is the mofongo and chicharrón de pollo, which is like a chicken. How do you translate that, Chelsea? Chicharrón. It's like fried chicken. So it's a version of a fried chicken. Okay, this is very, very traditional in our country. So, but that's what they're famous for their mofongo, which is mashed plantain.
It's fried
Pollo
with
frito.
the skin, not like Dianisi's bite today. No skin.
Because of nutrition, I like chicken without the skin. So when she saw the chicken, she's like, what? Where's the skin? So, para el pollo, chicharrón de pollo, tal vez tú sepas esto, y yo no. Él dice que sí, you know this, I don't know. So, tenía que dejarle la piel, y yo se la saqué. También la compré sin piel. It's not
It tastes different.
It tastes a little bit different.
Not crunchy, that's the good thing.
It's gonna be good, I promise
Yeah.
you. Jessica is cooking. You know, thank God Jessica is cooking, okay? It's not me. Porque si no... Pero ella va a cocinar el chicharrón de pollo de una versión un poquito diferente porque Dianisi no le trajo la piel, pero va a seguir siendo bueno. Es una comida bien tradicional de Puerto Rico. This is a very traditional recipe from Puerto Rico. White rice, ¿verdad? Arroz blanco, chicharrón de pollo, habichuelas quizás. Thank you, Henry. Stew beans. So that's what we're going to cook. That's what makes us different, okay? The stew beans. We are... Puerto Ricans, we cook the beans different than everybody else in Latin America. So, you know, in some other countries, they just, you know, saute the beans with some onions and some spices. In other countries, they just, you know, they fry them, they smash them, you know, they do many recipes with it. We just stew them. That's what we do. We make a soup with it. And that goes with, you know, on top of the rice. But it's not a soup. Doesn't have to be, no puede ser una sopa. It's a special density to it. It goes with a special, you have to, Jessica will teach us today. So las habichuelas guisadas, you know, habichuelas is the same as frijoles, you know, same thing. So nuestras habichuelas guisadas son diferentes porque no son, en cada país de Latinoamérica cocinamos habichuelas de diferentes maneras. Pues en Puerto Rico específicamente es guisadas. Eso es bien especial de Puerto Rico, ¿verdad, Jessica? Y es como una sopa, ¿verdad? Pero no es sopa, tiene una consistencia diferente. Y Jessica nos va a enseñar, ¿ok? So, Jessica, ¿cómo se parece? Oh, we're gonna make
tostones.
Okay, so we're gonna make a very traditional, simple salad, what we usually eat as a salad in Puerto Rico. Okay, some vegetables and the tostones, fried plantains. So tostones, they call it different in other countries as well. They call it patacón. ¿Cómo le llaman a los tostones en su país? No los comes. You see? Mexicano, he's Mexican. I'm like, how do you call tostones in your country? Like, we don't eat that.
No.
You see how stupid we look when we say stuff like that? You see?
Como nosotros las tortillas no
Exactamente. So no, they're like same as tortillas. We don't eat tortillas. So this is you know, tostones. Again, Dianisi brought the frozen tostones.
No,
We need the fresh. So that's the real plantain. Dianisi brought the processed plantain. So yo traje los tostones congelados. Por favor, no coja consejo de mí. Déjese llevar por Jessica. Jessica trajo el plátano de verdad. Este es el plátano. Ella le va a enseñar cómo hacerlo. She's going to show us, you know, how to cut it and prep for it, okay? But I'm going to be cooking the fried ones. I'm sorry, the frozen ones. So, muy bien. So I follow you. Tú me dices, yo me sigo. So while she's doing some, I'm going to be explaining every process that she's going through. She's going to say it in Spanish. I'll be, you know, translating in English. Or sometimes she say it in English and translate in Spanish. So, and then I'm gonna, while she's doing some processing, she has to check the rice and do some stuff. I'm gonna give you more information about, you know, the culture aspects of Puerto Rico and how we, you know, come up with all of these mix of ingredients. They're not all come from Puerto Rico.
La carne.
Muy bien. So, mira, para decirle, voy a estar explicando lo que Jessica va a estar haciendo. Voy a estar dándole una información de Puerto Rico. Pero quiero que sepan que el experto aquí en adobar la carne y sazonar la carne es Henry. So the expert, you know, seasoning and, you know, mixing all of these good ingredients for the meat, Henry is the expert. Okay, he's very famous for his pernil. How you call that in English? Pork. You know, he's a that's what, you know, his famous dish. Pork. So basically, you know, most of our. Muy bien. Yeah. So, you know, Henry, ¿qué vamos a estar usando para la receta?
Pues vamos a echar adobo, ajo y sazón.
Okay. So yo le voy a hablar un poquito de lo que es el sazón, okay? So for this recipe, what we're going to be using right now, Henry will be using some adobo, okay? Adobo could come in different brands, okay? This one is Goya. We're not promoting any brand. I'm not making any money out of it, okay? There's no commission for me. But it just happens that the store, everything is together. When you go to Goya aisle, that's where you find most of the ingredients, okay? So what we're using is Sazon Goya. This is a mix of different dried herbs and spices, okay? It's high in sodium. So just for the nutrition part of it, this is not a very healthy recipe, okay? So we are not, this is Dianisi, but I'm not doing a healthy recipe. So para que sepan, están echando el sazón. El sazón, tú sabes, es una mezcla de especias y de hierbas secas, ¿ok? Y tiene mucho sal, tiene mucho sodio, ¿ok? Es alto en sodio. No es una receta saludable, es una receta pues, cargada de sodio y de calorías. You know, recipes usually are full of sodium and calories because this is for a poor family. So we need to grab most of the calories in one meal that we can, okay?
Se usa más para el colorante, porque no se usa tanto
Exacto.
para la sal, es para darle color.
So Jessica is telling us that most of the time when sazon is used in recipes, especially Puerto Rican recipes, is to give some color. You know, the orangey color in the yellow rice, it should be called orange rice. So the orangey color in the meat and the recipes.
Is that pork involved or chicken?
Just chicken. Just chicken. We're making the chicharrón de pollo. Estamos haciendo, you know, chicharrón de pollo. So el sazón se usa solamente para dar un poco de color, okay? So
what else is he putting in?
adobo, let me show you adobo. So adobo, this is just a brand Goya, but adobo comes in different brands, okay? So adobo, it's a seasoning again. It has sodium, it comes less, you know, low in sodium as well. But this is basically, you know, salt, garlic, it's a little bit of oregano, black pepper, and all dried spices and herbs all together. I make my own adobo, I make my own sazon at home, so you can make it as well. So I'm going to explain a little bit in Spanish. So muy bien, ahora mismo lo que estamos echándole fue un poco de adobo, un poco de sazón, ok, un sobrecito, encima del pollo. So, esto es para darle un poco más de sabor. El pollo no absorbe tanto sabor como la carne. So chicken do not absorb as much of, you know, flavors as the meat when we mix all this, you know, spices and stuff. So what we added, sazon, adobo, and what else? Pepper.
Nice garlic powder.
So we also, A secret of the Latino cooking, garlic powder. Hello. Garlic powder is different garlic salt, okay? Garlic powder, two different things. So you have to read it, your container. So garlic powder, you're not adding any sodium when you do the garlic powder, okay? But when there's garlic salt, that's a different story. So, muy bien, so you're gonna mix it all. You gotta use your hands. Tienes que usar tus manos. Tienes que usar tus manos.
La habichuela.
So now, we left the chicken there. Next we're gonna move on to start the beans. Okay, this is I don't know how they do it because I'm not an expert here, but they cook all of these at once at the same time, simultaneously. So todo esto, yo no sé cómo ellos lo hacen, pero lo cocinan todo simultáneamente. Okay, mientras hace esto, se mueve para el otro lado a hacer la habichuela y luego para el arroz. Magic, okay? Esto es magia, ¿verdad?
¿Cuántas papas picantes?
So for the beans, we're gonna start by boiling some water, and in that water we have a pumpkin. Yes, my friend, the one that you use to make that happen. Yes. I don't know why you waste that. So here, this is what we use. This is the type of calabaza. This calabaza is a squash. The translation. You can use the zucchini or the yellow squash as well to add it to the beans.
Una papa.
So because we are doubling recipes, so this usually ¿cuántas tú pones en una receta para las 4? Una papa. So usually you put one potato for 4 servings in the beans. So but this not right now we're making four potatoes, okay, for everybody. So usually you put just one papa, una papa y nada más. Usually you just cut it in, you dice it, tiny pieces, not so small because they're gonna disappear and you want some pieces in it. So what I do is I cut big pieces and small pieces. So the small pieces are meant to be dissolved in the water and the big pieces are staying. So this is a good size, es un buen size. So I'm gonna say it in Spanish, okay? So vamos a empezar las habichuelas, okay, la habichuela empezamos hirviendo un poco de agua para hervir y ablandar la calabaza. La calabaza que estamos usando es esta calabaza anaranjada, ¿verdad? Y también estamos usando papa. ¿Ok? Tú puedes echarle la cantidad de papa que tú quieras, pero la idea es que le eches papas pequeñas y pedazos grandes para que se disuelvan en el guiso, ¿verdad? Y la hagan un poquito más espeso, ¿verdad? ¿Qué más le echaste, Jessica?
Todavía nada.
So right now we have water and we've been boiling the pumpkin, the squash, and the potato. Ham. So we're gonna be adding some pieces of ham. So if you're vegan or vegetarian and you go to a Latino restaurant and you ask for beans, stew beans, make sure if they add some pork, bacon, or some type of fatty, meat, because that's secret ingredient. So ham, that's what we got on Dianisi, of course, making her life easy. She got it, in pieces, but they're screaming at me, they want the whole piece. You don't want it in pieces, you want the whole piece and cut it yourself, So, yo traje los jamones picaditos, bien lindo, pero ella me dijo, no, tráete canto grande y lo picas, okay, y lo guardas. So usually we use what we need and then the rest we freeze it, okay, it freezes very well. ¿Qué más necesitas? ¿Qué necesitas? Un abridor. Yo lo hago con el cuchillo. So, and I'm going to show you very, glamour way to open a can. So this is how you open a can. That's it. Tú lo haces, puñeta. Yeah. So this is how you open a can. And that's a life skill. So esa es una manera de cómo abrir una lata. Necesitamos So only one can, una sola lata de salsa. So las habichuelas. Let me tell you something about the canned beans, okay? Déjame decirle algo sobre las habichuelas enlatadas. Las habichuelas enlatadas siguen teniendo nutrientes, ¿ok? Porque el enlatamiento bloquea todos esos nutrientes de los frijoles, de las habichuelas, pero se preserva en sodio. So, el líquido que está en esa lata básicamente es el sodio, ¿verdad? Que lo preserva. Yo, como educadora de nutrición, le digo, remueve el agua de las habichuelas y enjuágalas. Así les remueves hasta 45% del sodio o 50%. Pero ahí es donde me dicen los puertorriqueños, ahí está el sabor. Dianisi, ahí está el sabor, por eso es que tú no sabes cocinar. So I'm gonna say it in English. So the canned beans, they still have, as a nutrition, they still have nutrients, and the nutrients are locked by the canning processing, okay? So what it preserves the cans, the beans, is the salt, the sodium, okay? So when you talk to if you talk to me, I will tell you, open the cans, drain and rinse with water, remove all that sodium up to 50%, right? But if you tell a Puerto Rican who really knows how to cook, they're gonna tell you you're crazy. You're gonna add that water in the recipe because that's the flavor. But again, another sodium ingredient added to the recipe, okay? So right now, so you're gonna add the entire can with the water. That's what usually, is done in Puerto Rico. So there's no waste. There's nothing that goes to garbage, okay? We're gonna use it all. Even the skin of the chicken. So we've been adding the potatoes, the calabaza, the squash. So the ham, little pieces of ham. That's optional as well. You can use bacon too. And we add 1 can of tomato sauce, not tomato paste, tomato sauce. Tomato paste will make it more like a puree instead of soup. So then we're gonna add the sofrito. Sofrito comes in the industrialized version of it and the homemade version. Okay, so right now Dianisi, she doesn't have the homemade version. She just went to Walmart and she got that jar of sofrito. So when you're making sofrito, it's a very traditional recipe. That's the foundation of the Latin cuisine, okay? Sofrito, it comes from the word, sauteing, sofreír, okay? So it's basically a base to start sauteing foods on the pan, okay? So that's what we use for most of our recipes, okay? Even the chicken, we use sofrito. So how you make sofrito? You can make it at home, which is what we recommend most of the time. We can teach. Would you like to teach a class how to make sofrito here? Would you like to come and learn how to make sofrito? So I'm not gonna tell you how, so you come to class. Jessica, hacemos una clase de cómo hacer sofrito. So let's show that, ¿verdad, Chelsea? Let's teach a class how to make sofrito, and it's very unique, and you can take your jar of sofrito home, okay? And don't worry, it's not me. Jessica knows how to make it. So Jessica, hacemos esa clase, eso sería nice. So vamos a hacer sofrito, vamos a ofrecer una clase cómo hacer sofrito. El sofrito es la base de toda la cocina de Latinoamérica, ¿verdad? Es básicamente un guisado, ¿verdad? De diferentes ingredientes para empezar a cocinar. So ahora mismo lo que le estamos añadiendo a las habichuelas. So this is what we're going to be adding to the beans. So this is the famous sazon and ham. ¿Qué es eso? Ham flavor concentrate. So it's just a powders, okay? It's a powder made of dehydrated ham. So it's just to give some flavor to it, ham flavor, okay? So if you're making chicken, stewed chicken, do not add the ham because you're making chicken. But if you're making anything else, like any stew, any habichuelas, any soup, then you use the ham.
Y un chile garlic.
Garlic powder, that goes into the beans, okay?
Y un poquito de black pepper.
A little bit of black pepper, a little bit of garlic powder.
Un can de tomate de salsa.
We put 1 can of the tomato sauce.
Y vamos a usar esto sí le va a dar.
My famous, mira, I love this herb. This is like, I in Puerto Rico, I didn't even care of this herb. Now I kind of like dream about it. I'm even trying to grow it that much, okay? I'm passionate about this. So this is the famous recaíto. Recaíto. That's how we call it. ¿Cómo le llaman en su pueblo? Recao, ¿verdad? Recaíto. So in English is the wild colander. Okay, so this is an invasive plant in Puerto Rico. Yes. This is an invasive plant in Puerto Rico. This grows even between the concretes, the cracks in the concrete everywhere. So here it costs a fortune. So I'm trying to grow it. So here, this much costs about $3, $4, okay? And this is everywhere in Puerto Rico. So this is, as you see, it's a long leaf. It's not, most people confuse this as cilantro, but this is a very long leaf. I love.
It's wild coriander.
Yes, wild coriander. So this
Have
thing.
that IGA, right?
This one I got it from Cibao Market, but you can find it IGA, Cibao Market, in the Latino bodegas. But this is a very strong flavor. I love it. If you want to eat it, go ahead, but I would not eat it. So it's a very strong, stronger than cilantro, way stronger. So when you make sofrito, it smells like heaven. So cuando hagamos el sofrito, when we make the sofrito, you're gonna fall in love with this taste. And it could be stronger. This is just, for how long this been waiting for us to be picked. So imagine grabbing it from the ground and picking it. So esto es una hoja bien reconocida. ¿Cómo le llaman en su país a esta hoja de recaíto? ¿No la usan? Nosotros, cilantro, ¿verdad? Pues esto para nosotros es una invasiva. Eso está hasta entre medio del cemento. Ok, esto en Puerto Rico es gratis por todos lados, pero aquí vale una fortuna. Esto es gratis en todos lados en Puerto Rico, pero aquí esto es oro. So, es difícil de crecerla acá, ¿verdad? El cambio de clima, pero tiene un olor bien específico y cuando tú estás cocinando, preparando o haciendo sofrito, se queda con el canto. Esto de verdad, tus vecinos, your neighbors are going to know that you're cooking when you start cooking with this. They're like, okay, she started cooking now. So that's our most famous, herb. It's an invasive. It's invasive. It's everywhere. So we don't want it. So we cut it and eat it.
No se echa mucho porque cambia el sabor de la comida.
You don't put a lot of it or you don't put in everything because it really changes the taste of it. So tú no lo pones en todo porque sabe diferente después. Muy bien. So ¿en qué estamos, Jess?
Aquí estamos. Y ahora está hirviendo.
¿Poner la cita primero tú? Decimos aquí uno más profundo. Yo tengo una más grande. Yo voy a traer una más
Está
grande.
bien. Está bien.
So,
Mira, le echamos esto a las habichuelas.
so we put some olives to the beef. Oh, let me mention because I know nobody. I see you without any notepad or any pen. So I'm gonna be sending you the link of all of these recipes. Okay, I'm not gonna make copies. I'm gonna send you an email with all of the links, and if it doesn't work an email, I can send you a text message with all of the links of all of these recipes. So it's not me in the videos, of course, it's somebody else, but you're gonna have all of the recipes and ideas, videos and other recipes as well. So voy a enviarle las recetas por email. Si tienen un email, yo le envío las recetas en un link, ¿ok?
Esto viene con pepa.
Ok.
Esto viene con pepa. Traten de buscarlo que no tenga pepa porque se puede.
Esta tiene pepa, ok? So Dianisi again. Okay. This one comes with seeds and without seeds, okay? So make sure that it's seedless, without seeds, because you can break your jaw, and then we expect it to be around the food, okay? So you're not gonna be looking for it. You're not gonna be picking out. You're gonna leave everything there. You're gonna serve. Y so one said, so put it aside on your plate, but we don't tend to accommodate no people. Just, that's it. You come to eat at my house, you eat what we cook, and that's it. There's olives, you remove it, or... So, usualmente no le sacamos nada, lo que hay en el plato, eso te come, ¿ok? Si tú, no hacemos excepciones ni modificaciones. Así se cocina en la casa. That's how we cook, in any Puerto Rican house. And then you don't ask for any menu to be done. You just ask what's done. That's it. So there's no request. So muchas veces en muchas casas latinas no hay ninguna request, nada de que te pidan que hacer. Te comes lo que hay, ¿ok? So muy bien. So now that you're gonna let it, you let it go, you let it boil for a little bit there. ¿Por cuánto tiempo? Como 15 minutos, 20 minutos, about 15 to 20 minutes, while you're doing something else, like the chicken. So the chicken will be fried at the other kitchen. So we're gonna be, walking over there soon, and we're gonna be frying tostones. The plantains.
¿Tú vas a freír esto primero, tostón?
So yo lo que voy a hacer es que...
Freír el pollo primero y después...
Sí. Bueno, lo podemos hacer nosotros allá y traer los tostones o lo hacemos el pollo allá y después los tostones. Pues está bien. Sí, ¿verdad? Sí, ya estamos allá. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fry everything in the other kitchen. That way we have a hood as well. It's better for us and your hair. So because it's not gonna smell like food, right? So we're gonna be cooking the chicken and the tostones over there in the other kitchen, commercial kitchen. Right now we're just gonna let that boil it. We're gonna cook the tostones. We're gonna cook the chicken. So let me just go over the ingredients for the beans, okay? Because I think it's the most important recipe of tonight. La receta más importante yo creo que son las habichuelas, because it's really identified us as puertorriqueños, Puerto Ricans. Porque las habichuelas guisadas es lo que en verdad nos identifica a nosotros como puertorriqueños, porque es la receta diferente. So we made this, we're the only ones who do these beans like this, okay, among the Latinx community. Muy bien. Apparently this is not needed. You don't need this. Make your own sofrito. You don't need this. Come to the class and we'll show you how to. They show you. So so chicken will be done soon. So this is what we're using for the beans, okay? We put some potatoes. So you're gonna peel it. You're gonna cut it in small pieces. Potato and the pumpkin, la calabaza, squash. You could use yellow squash, zucchini as well. It will do the work. Then we're gonna be adding to that water some of the ham, little pieces of ham, okay? Very important. If you're vegan, vegetarian, always ask for that when you go to restaurants. So this is, we're gonna call it el sofrito, but you know, you're gonna make your own. This is just when you're in a hurry, you know, emergency type of thing, okay? And I usually use these two together. But when you read ingredients, they're the same. When you read ingredients, they're the same. This one has an arrow and this one doesn't. So that's the difference, okay? So I usually use these two together. I don't go by brands, I go by what's on sale. So, you know, if there's another brand that, you know, you see this and it's on sale, go for it, okay? I usually also mix these two and I add other things and I blend them. Like garlic and, you know, more of this recaito, you know, I do that. I make it more Latino version of it. So, so this is the sofrito, sazon. You're going to be using the ham or any type of, you know, meat that you want the salt from it. That's what you're looking for. The potatoes. You're going to be adding also. Lo hacemos allá, a ver, sí, para el chicharrón. Sí. Está bien. ¿Como cuántos? Para hablar un poquito aquí en lo que se calienta el aceite. Ah, pues perfecto.
O sea, una oración que tú hagas ya.
Ya, está, ok, perfecto. Y te llevo el pollo. ¿O tú te lo llevas? Ok, perfecto. So now they're going to be taking the chicken. And they're gonna start the oil, but they're not gonna cook it without us. We're gonna go there, okay, and we're gonna do it together. So, yo le estoy explicando lo que van a hacer otra vez y lo van a ver un poquito más. Okay, so let me just show you the adobo that goes in the beans as well. And garlic powder, a little bit of pepper, y some of the tomato sauce. I mean, tomato sauce, salsa de tomate, not tomato paste. It's different than, you know, different texture. So now, my friends, so of course you can play with these ingredients. You can, you know, go crazy and try, you know, to make it your own. That's what we do. You know, some people put on the beans hot dogs, carrots, right? Carrots, salchichas, you know, sausages. What else do we put in the beans? Some people put sugar in it. It makes it sweet, you know, sweet and sour type of, you know, Dominicans, they put sugar in it. What else I have seen? Bacon, I tell you, they add bacon. Some people, if you put pieces of chicken, now it's stewed chicken, okay? So, so it's not, but you know, we don't use the beans for soups at all. It's not an ingredient that we put in soups. So, básicamente nosotros no añadimos habichuelas a las sopas. Casi siempre es aparte. It's always a side, never in there. So what we mix with, we do rice and beans. That's what we do. That we do. Muy bien. So let me show you something else. Because I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the traditional, you know, culture of you know, Puerto Rican foods. And again, always, like, we're talking about only Puerto Rico. This is not Mexico, this is not El Salvador, this is not in Guatemala, this is just in Puerto Rico how we cook it, okay? So estamos hablando de una receta bien de Puerto Rico, no de, ni de México ni de El Salvador, todos hacemos habichuelas diferentes. Bien importante aclararlo, very, very important to emphasize, you know, that this is just from Puerto Rico, okay? So don't go to Cibao Market, which is Dominican, asking for the beans. I don't want Rican beans, because it's Dominicans, okay? So, but they cook like Puerto Ricans. So the Dominicans and Puerto Ricans were very, very similar in the recipe. So somos bien similares, ¿verdad? Los dominicanos y los puertorriqueños en la manera en que cocinamos. Usamos mucho el tostón, el plátano, arroz y habichuela. Muy bien. So I hope they come soon. I hope that doesn't burn because it's Dianisi. No, it's going well. It's going well. So you don't touch it. Actually, you don't touch it at all. You just let it go. You don't touch it. No, you don't touch it. That's right. You don't touch it. Yeah, you let it go in there. So let me put it a little bit lower because I think this is too high, and this is, you know, stronger stove than the one that they have at their home. Okay, it should not be like boiling like that. It should be, you know, going but not so high. So we're gonna leave it on 4. So, and then, you know, when it's done, when you see the water will tell you, because when you do this, when you check how you know, you see the water is too watery. It's not done yet. So it's done when the little pieces of potatoes breaks easily. When they breaks and they dissolve in the water, you see the calabaza, the pumpkin, is already breaking a little bit. So that will disappear. That will dissolve in the beans, some of the potatoes and some of the calabaza. So that's what you want. Muy bien. The beans are cooked, so you don't need to worry about the beans unless you use dry beans, okay? And so beans are cooked, you're just making the soup, you know, the water part of it. So las habichuelas tú las dejas ahí, tú no las mueves, tú no las tocas, tú las dejas ahí, ¿ok? Y te pones a hacer otra cosa, el arroz o el pollo. Tú quieres las habichuelas que están listas cuando ya la papa y la calabaza se van rompiendo, ¿ok? Y van haciéndola un poquito más espesa. Ahí ya tú sabes que está lista. La habichuela de lata ya viene cocida, so tú no te tienes que preocupar si está hecha o no. Muy bien. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any questions? Any question? I love questions. Any question? ¿Alguna pregunta? Yes.
What kind of beans are they using?
Great question. Gracias. You see, I like that. Te voy a enseñar. So what we're using today are, again, I never go with the brand, it's Goya brand, but it's pink beans.
Okay.
So they're smaller and medium size because, you know, we didn't have pink beans back then. You know, or maybe they were more expensive than the red beans because I was eating only red beans, the huge ones. So those are not fun to eat. So those are red, you know, kidney beans, they're too big, okay? So now we have the pink beans, and those are, you know, habichuelas rosadas, and that's the most famous beans that we buy, especially Puerto Ricans, and because it's the one that we make it as stew. So this is pink beans, but any beans will do the trick. Chickpeas and pigeons, you know, lentils, all of that, you can do the exact same recipe, okay? And then I always suggest dry beans and, you know, soak them in water overnight, and it will be the same as having candy with no flavor, without the water, without the sodium, okay? Yes.
You said you can make your own.
Sofrito?
Because we know the
Sazon?
Yep.
Yes.
And adobo.
Yes, you can make your own.
Neither she nor I can really eat very much salt, so that's
No.
the direction we would
You
go.
should do that. You know what I will do is I take a picture of it in the ingredients and just make it. It's very easy. You know, that's just I'm sorry, Goya, but that's just a way of making mine. Because that's, you don't need it. Back in the days, you don't need that. You know what's the main ingredient of this, which is, as Jessica said, okay, we use this mostly to give color to the food. So what is needed, what is added as an ingredient for the sazon is annatto seeds. So you just, you know, you cook some annatto seeds with a little bit of oil, and then you keep it in a jar, in a glass jar in the fridge, and then you use a little, like tiny, the tip of the spoon, you know, to color your foods. Or your lips, you can also use it for your lips. You know, the indigenous people use it as a makeup, as a, you know, painting of their faces. You know, that's a real story, okay? So, and you can put it on your cheeks, and it lasts for weeks. Your fingers are gonna be red if you know, season the meat and stuff with your bare hands, okay? So just read ingredients, and it's very easy to make. It's just, you know, dried stuff, dried garlic, dried pepper, that's it.
Not black. Green plantain?
No,
Green, not black?
let me tell you, what happens with the plantain, so when you do plantain, when you do tostones, you want them green. You want them green, you know, they're not ripe yet, they're not good to eat, you're gonna cook it. So you can, I'm gonna wait for Jessica to do it because I know she's good at this. So, you know, but the plantain, you want them this ripe. I'm gonna pass this one around so you can feel it. It's hard, if I throw it to you, I can kill you. This is a weapon, okay? So your plantain, you want them green, okay, to make the tostones. You don't want them saggy, soft, or yellowish, neither, you know, black, because it's not gonna come out right. So then you better fry it, you know, you better do something else. But the tostones, you need it really, really green and this big. ¿Qué más? So, mira, para los tostones usted necesita el plátano bien duro, que no esté blandito, tan duro que si yo se lo tiro aquí lo puedo matar. So, para hacer los tostones, porque cuando ya el plátano está maduro y o está negro, ya es otra receta, ya no va a salir lo mismo. You know, when the plantain turns yellow or black, they get sweet. They get really sweet. You can actually, it gets so soft that you can open it and eat it as a banana, okay? Some places it's eaten like that. Many places, many Caribbean, also the Caribbean countries, you know, we cook the plantain, but other countries they do not. Like, you know, in Mexico they don't cook the plantains. They don't do tostones like that in certain areas. Muy bien, so this is what you do. Yo tenía miedo de dañar, porque yo dije, Jessica. So she's gonna show you because I'm afraid of, you know, ruining it. So basically, you're gonna be removing the two ends. Le vas a sacar las dos esquinas, and you're gonna make a little cap in there, but you're gonna just go you're gonna cut the skin. You're not gonna go deep in it with the knife, okay? Then using your knife, you're gonna be removing the skin a little bit, and this is kind of like very sticky if you do it without, without gloves or anything like that. You see how she's an expert, okay? And that is a little bit hard to peel, okay? You see how she removed that? You can use your fingers. You have to detach it a little bit with the knife first, and then you put your finger through it and you pull out. Beautiful, beautiful. Gracias a Dios no lo hice yo. Beautiful. So that's how that's how you peel it, and I'm more than sure that Jessica can do it in a second. Okay. Then you cut it in little pieces, and you're gonna fry these little pieces. And then halfway when they're fried, you're gonna take them out, and you're gonna stick them. Okay. There's a device, very famous, glamorous device to use to squish them. Okay, and it's a can of beans or a can of sauce. So this is unique, and this is just a device. So I'm gonna show you in the kitchen. Okay.
Oh, yo uso un plato también.
Oh, she's advanced. She has another technique. She uses a plate. Un plato, queda más grande.
Mira,
I think era better.
esto lo va.
This one is the round thing is too small. The plate makes it more bigger. Smart people, you see. Muy bien. So this is what we use. Honestly, no hay el aceite. Porque Henry dijo que lo hiciéramos allá con los pollos.
¿O sí?
Él dijo que hiciéramos allá. O no, ¿verdad? Que se va. So I'm gonna aquí. Entonces, ahí está la. ¿Te traigo el aceite? Te voy a traer el aceite porque yo creo que está allá. Muy bien, so she's. Muy bien. I'm like, I'm gonna get the oil. She said, no, you stay there and talk and I go. Muy bien, Jessica. Yo voy a hacer helada. So, muy bien. So when we're gonna take some time to do the tostones, but I'm gonna show you how I make the very, very difficult. This is the most difficult recipe in the entire night. How to make the Puerto Rican salad. Okay, this is very traditional. When you say salad, and this is a fact, real fact. When I talk about salads, okay, in the class, in the nutrition class, and Puerto Rican, you know what comes to their mind? The ingredients that comes to Puerto Rican minds every time you say salad is iceberg lettuce, okay, iceberg, tomatoes, not even Roma tomatoes, other tomatoes, and corn in can. Okay, that's our salad. And then, of course, we're gonna dressing the salad with a little bit of oil and vinegar. Okay, that's what we're gonna put on. Okay, and then we're gonna do a little dressing for the tostones. Very, very unique. This is very gourmet, a high-level chef. Mayo ketchup, right? With garlic powder. That's the Muy bien. ¿Qué necesita, mi amor? Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we make this salad. Okay, so I already made everything for you. So we're gonna use this. Again, we're just gonna be using the famous. Everywhere you go in Puerto Rico, if you ask for a salad, unless you go fancy and say like Caesar salad, but when you ask for a salad, this is what you're gonna get. And plates when you go dishes when you go restaurants and it says soup or salad. This is the salad you're gonna get, my friend. Okay, So, muy bien, mira, cuando vamos a Puerto Rico, cuando tú vas a los restaurantes y dicen ensalada, uno piensa que es algo como, wow, muchos vegetales, no, es puramente lechuga de iceberg, tomate picadito y maíz en lata, ¿ok? En lata. So, this is the main ingredients, and I'm gonna serve you exactly what my mom will serve me as a salad, okay? So, salads in Puerto Rico, traditional local food is not it's not a main dish, okay? So you do not pretend go to a restaurant in Puerto Rico or to a family house, because if you visit someone in Puerto Rico, they're gonna offer you food, and you better say yes, right? You better say yes. Yeah. Yes, because if you don't eat in Puerto Rico, if you visit someone in Puerto Rico and you don't eat their food, you don't love them, okay? So basically, you have the iceberg lettuce. And iceberg lettuce here, because it's been waiting, the lettuce it's too green. In Puerto Rico, it's almost white. It's full of water, right? It's full of water. We don't get this. So this is what you're gonna cut it. So in Puerto Rico, the whole head, it looks like this. We don't get it as fresh as this, okay? So let's just make that clear. I have my supervisor here. y yo le digo, Jessica, les voy a dar exactamente la cantidad que quiero muy poquito. So this is, basically, gracias. You just chop it, because the more you chop it, more people eat, okay? That's the idea of chopping all of these pieces. Muy bien. So you add that into the bowl. Tú tienes tu lechuguita. Tú lo cortas, mientras más lo cortes, mejor porque da para más gente. ¿Ok? Entonces, el tomate, let me show you here. So el tomate, prácticamente lo picamos a mitad because one whole, slide is too much. We have to cut it in half. So then you put it like this, and then you just slice it, okay? This one is too big. You want it really, really, really thin, okay? Really thin.
Es posible.
Yes. So these little pieces, you're not gonna throw it in there. You're gonna make your actual plate, okay? So they don't mix it all together. They make you a little tiny plate of salad, and it looks like this, okay? Let me show you how it looks. I'm gonna be adding it to your plate once you try this food, but usually they give you this much. So they give you, and I'm not kidding. This is a real, ¿verdad que sí? Esto así te dan en un restaurante. Dos. Entonces, you want the maíz, very unique way of opening cans. Understand? And I can go left or right. So get rid of the water. You're gonna rinse and do it outside, that's wasting your time. You're just gonna put some corn out of the can. Here's your salad. So let me just add a little bit of vinegar. Usually it's mixed together already, but like I say, usually it's mixed together, so I'm gonna do a mix already here for you guys, but what they do is they have like a little jar, that's what we do, and we mix this, lo mixeamos ya. Y trust de salad with atuma que le echa un poco de vinagre y aceite. Más vinagre que aceite, pero a la gente le encanta el sabor de vinagre, pero es 50 y 50, 50-50 for vinegar and, oil. And it's not apple cider vinegar, that's too fancy. White vinegar, este es el que usamos. No apple fancy. I mean apples. Cider.
Ya pueden pasar para
Muy bien.
el pollo.
So ya estamos listos para el pollo, so we're ready for the chicken. So we're gonna show you how Jessica makes that chicharrón de pollo. Okay, it's a very unique way. Listen, not everybody knows how to do this recipes. That's real. I'm not joking here. Okay, not everybody know how to do this recipe with the taste that you're gonna try today. That's why their restaurant is very famous in town. She started just cooking for friends, and now it became a business, okay? And it's based here at Click, and so I'm happy that you're here trying her food because I'm very, very. She came with food for me, but I'm not gonna share it. So she gave me sancocho. Sancocho. So she makes this awesome Puerto Rican soup called sancocho with a lot of root vegetables and que tiene pork and a lot of herbs and. Ay, qué rico. Yeah, and the pork feet. Pork feet. That's the best food ever. And I was vegan. But culture is stronger. Muy bien, mi gente. So, and later I'm going to show you everything about, the glamorous, very fancy way of making mayo ketchup, Puerto Rican style. But Jessica will show us el pollo. Yo empiezo a contar lo que tú haces eso si quieres. ¿Tú quieres que haga los tostones? Vamos allá.
Lo bajamos.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the other kitchen. If you haven't been into our commercial kitchen, it's a great opportunity to show you. Please do not touch anything in there.
Don't touch it. Recording in progress.
The sound is gone. No sound.
Okay, I'll work on it. He took the phone, so I'll go grab him.
Smart with Catherine is our newest business, and then she makes meals that are already prepped for you, they're already cooked, and they're measured, and they're all Latino things, like Latino recipes. I am so happy with this lady.
Better.
Been in business for like maybe, she just got her license, so she's running everything, and she's already making 1,000 meals every week. Wow. Yes. She's on every Sunday. She's here every Sunday, and she delivers. She's in Harvard. She's here in Manchester. Whatever it is, she's running. So this is our prep area. Our walk-in freezer, walk-in refrigerator. Okay. Yeah. So this is our baking kitchen. Host restaurant, or actual products, okay? So, acá pues se la página comercial, acá te lo demás más, si tienes su negocio, y entonces la gente tomaba como $15 el hora, y el precio was $15 per hour to be in the kitchen, so no para mucho muy bien, so we have the price, still holding. Okay, so this is hot. Ese aceite está caliente. So the highest in the so cuando so you overdo it. That's why it's called chicharrón, because you are chicharrando. So that's your burning. That's why it comes from chicharrón. So you're basically, overcooking the steam. The oil is very hot, so it will cook outside faster than inside. Okay, so that's the idea. That's the idea also how to make turnovers and panaderías. Outside, but whatever is inside is already cooked. So you make raw meat inside of panadilla. So that's another class. Would you like to
The sound is unclear.
So, básicamente, más sobre la piedra al pollo, por eso se llama chicharrón, y tienes el aceite bien caliente, y empieza a quedar, ¿ok? So, sí, vamos a ver, Mary, show them un poquito de cómo se ve el pollo, that's how I start doing it, you see? It's actually burning the skin in the outer faster than the inside. Inside is going to be cooked. Just, food safety information should be cooked internally 165 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So for 50 seconds. So you just make sure that it's really good. And then the outer part of the chicken will be overcooked. That's why it's called chicharrón, okay? So let's just move back to the other kitchen. Any questions so far? ¿Alguna pregunta? Remember how we see some of the chicken and what we put in it, okay? Remember? That's the same chicken, okay? Okay, you don't need any special equipment to be cooking these recipes, okay? Any kind of good, but I suggest you get a caldero, which is that, pot. That's where we make the rice, where we make the stews, where we make the beef, where we make even the lamb. We make it there. So if you don't have one of those, you're not Puerto Rican. Not and it must be black. It must be black, my friend. You need to show the hair. Okay? The darker the better. The more it stays, that means that you are a good cook. So, and lastly, de decoración. So if you're gonna make yellow rice, you need one of those. If you're gonna make chicharrón, you need one of those. You know, if you're gonna make them carne hervida, right? Fried pork, you need one of those. Pues yo voy a dar conmigo allá. So let's go back to the home to show you how to make the tostones, okay? From fresh. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about your
One of my favorites. I fry first. Yes, you fry. Yep.
Okay.
Espero que no se pase el tiempo, llorar.
6 or 7.
Nos vamos aquí a las 8. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. Good timing. Good timing. Wow. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish the salad here really quick.
You just scan in and it'll probably take you to their website, I guess.
Ay, no, mi hija, Dios de los procesos.
There's one question at home. There was one question at home.
Okay, yes.
The question was, what prevents the oil from splattering when you put the chicken in?
We just we just take some space, you know, and we usually we don't throw them, we put it nicely into the oil, but what we do is we also use like a mesh. You know, we have like a cover that is a mesh, and we cover it with it. That's what we most of the time what we use in the houses. Because if that is gonna, the entire stove is gonna get dirty. There's no way the oil is not gonna go, and we even cover the wall with some special paper that comes in the kitchen aisle. So you put up like a contact paper in there, you know, like sticky paper to cover the wall because you all constantly frying, you know. So that's all over. So it's a lot of cooking, a lot of cleaning. So, ¿recordame tu nombre también? ¿Cómo? Jeniel. Jeniel. No te preocupes. So we have Jeniel here. He is part of the family and the business. And Jeniel is showing us how to peel the plantain, okay? Él está enseñando cómo está cortando, cómo se pela el plátano, okay? This is something that he does every day. Muy bien. So he's learning from his dad how to season the meats. Muy bien, excelente. So basically, you know, the same technique as Jessica, but you see he's not using the knife to separate the skin from the plantain, and your hands are gonna get a little bit sticky. What I do is I rub salt on my hands and then start peeling because it gets very sticky. And then te mancha. That's true. It stains your fingers. It's true. It stains your fingers. So. Sí. Perfecto. So that's how you do it. ¿Qué más tú haces en la casa? ¿Qué más tú estás cocinando en tu casa?
Mami, yo hago.
Él es el tester de la casa.
Ah. Él es el que dice si está bueno. So this is very important to start, training your kids to be in the kitchen in early ages. We do start cooking in Puerto Rico when we are 9, 8 years old. And I'm telling, well, not me, my mom. Thank you, mommy. But my mom, it wasn't that our dynamic like that because my mom went to work every day, so she wasn't there to, But pero usually, you start cooking rice, white rice. That's your first training, right? In Puerto Rico, your first training is white rice on the caldero. And you're only 6 or 7, possibly 8. If you're 8 making white rice, you're late. Okay? So you already need to know how to make white rice. So that's why we are experts on making rice because we're cooking from very early ages. So so someone like him, he's been trained by the parents. That's very common in Puerto Rican culture. Okay, to be cooking and doing exactly what your parents are doing, and they teach you how to cook. So it's like a real training. So they like, okay, today's the day that you're gonna make rice, and now you know that that's one of your duties, one of your chores, that you have to make the rice. You have to start the rice, then your mom comes from work and they make the rice and meat. I mean the beans and meat, but then you have the rice done. Okay?
Better taking that bean out of the freezer though.
That's right, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're not
sure.
You go to school.
So yes, so we have that a responsibility in early ages in our culture, okay? So that's why there's so many great Puerto Rican cooks because we are trained since 8, 7 years old, ¿verdad que sí? Jessica, ¿a qué edad tú aprendiste a cocinar?
Ya a los 9 ya yo cocinaba.
¿Qué cocinabas?
De todo.
9 years old. She cooks like she knows how to cook since she was 9 years old. So and then she's cooking rice, yellow rice and beans to beans.
Lo que no hacía era como era ahora el bufón.
Special recipes more developed like mofongo.
Pero un secreto.
Little secret.
En casa quien cocina es mi
So who cooks at home is her husband, okay? He's the one who cooks.
Pero fíjese, ahora en el negocio quien cocina soy yo.
Look at that. So now in the business she's cooking and now the babies are cooking now. So eso es así, nos entrenamos unos a los otros a que nos aprendamos a cocinar. Entonces, luego comparamos recetas, ¿verdad, Jessica? Siempre comparamos recetas, o en Navidades, el Día de Acción de Gracias, todo el mundo lleva su receta especial, ¿ok? So, we share recipes and we compete with recipes. And then what happens is that you have family members coming to your gatherings, right? And they all bring in a plate of their famous dish, whatever they decide to bring. And dishes are, pork, lasagnas, and pastelón, which is what you make, and potato salads. What's the other one? Pasta salads. So many things that they come with the fiesta. So that's very traditional in our country. Christmas time is when we cook the most. Okay. Christmas is the time that, in Puerto Rico, is one of these countries that Christmas lasts forever. So we celebrate Christmas as this is real. From we're not too big on Thanksgiving, okay? We celebrate it, but it's not a huge celebration. But, Acción de Gracias, Thanksgiving we celebrate, and that's when we start celebrating Christmas, okay? So next day we already put in the tree, we do everything for Christmas decoration, and we celebrate Christmas until January 8th, okay? Mm-hmm. And some people extend it even more, okay? Till February 2nd, because February 2nd is el Día de la Candelaria, and that's when you burn your tree. So you celebrate until Día de la Candelaria, which is February 2nd. So that means there are fiestas in houses, gatherings, you get in your car and you start looking for those fiestas because people are gathering in their houses. So that's Puerto Rico until February 2nd. Everywhere you go, there's rice with pigeons, rice with beans, pork, famous gourmet salad, and todo eso. So, muy bien, so ahora mismo, bien importante, todas estas recetas, nosotros los puertorriqueños siempre competimos muchísimo en las recetas, siempre tratamos de llevar la mejor receta, ¿verdad? A la familia, en las fiestas familiares y todo eso. Y siempre tienes una versión. We all have like a version of all of this recipe, okay? When it comes to gathering and sharing. Aquí. Sí, sí, claro, sí, puedes usar ese. Ese lo usamos solamente para los tomates. I mean, para los patatas, get you later. So I also, I was reading a little bit about, the Puerto Rican history of foods and just to compare of what I know, my experience of what's on mine. And I was reading something that it was very, 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 very special. Oh, there's very special technique how to make those tostones. So, now I use this, but this is a fancy way. So, special force.
Oh.
That's way better than my technique. So después tú lo sacas con una cuchara, then you have to remove with a spatula or something, but you got it right there. And then this is halfway cooked, okay? Let me explain something. So we cut it in pieces, you fry it for a little bit, then you remove it to this station, and then you do the fancy aplastamiento. That's what you do, So and then it goes back to the oil. Because right now, I'm gonna take this one, okay? But right now it's soft, it's not. So ya no sirve, ya lo toqué. So, you just, and then it goes back into the oil. Because you see how soft it is? It's just, it's like, so now you're gonna get harder when you fry them. And then, let me tell you something. He says, I'm gonna do it fresh. He says, I'm not gonna do those tostones, frozen tostones. I'm gonna do, no, for real, ¿verdad? Me dijo, yo voy a hacerlo fresco. Que yo no voy a hacer esos tostones, yo voy a hacerlo fresco. And that's why, thank you very much for putting that part. I really appreciate it. So he's like, no, fresh is the way. So that's how you actually make the tostones, okay? Tostones, frozen tostones, there's nothing added to it, just they're frozen. They're okay, but it's not the same flavor. For real, it saves time, tons of time. But what you do is you take a Sunday or a day off, and you do all the halfway tostones. You cut them, you cook them halfway, you smash them, and then you put it in pickle bags. And then when you're ready to eat them, then you fry them, and they're halfway cooked. Okay, but they're frozen. And from freezer to cooking, it's okay to do. Okay, just be careful that when you put it, the water and the oil gonna splash, but it's not gonna be explosion. Okay, just a little bit. Okay. So and just make sure that you're away from the oil because oil could burn. Prácticamente así se hace el tostón desde cero. Esa es la manera fresca de hacer el tostón. Entonces lo picamos, lo cocinamos hasta la mitad, lo freímos hasta la mitad, lo sacamos del aceite, lo aplastamos y luego lo regresamos al aceite. Okay, que eso es lo que Jessica está haciendo. Usualmente, cuando lo sacamos de freír, lo ponemos en servilleta para que absorba todo el aceite. Usually when we remove it from the oil, we put it on napkins, for a little bit to remove the oil, but that's just fancy. You don't have to do it. You just put it on the plate. That's it. Muy bien. So this is, cook and eat. We don't. Let me tell you something. We don't believe on leftovers. I do. Yo creo en los leftovers, porque yo digo que no creemos en la comida para el otro día. Que no se cree, pero yo sí, porque if she cooks, I tell her, send me your food and I go get it. No creemos en leftovers, we don't believe in leftovers. Honestly, it's very cultural in my country that you don't save food for next day. You eat what you eat and you better finish that plate, okay? Because you have to think of kids in Africa. That's what they tell me. Tú no te paras ahí hasta que termines el plato porque tienes que pensar en los niños de África que no comen. That's what they told us, every time you sit down, that you better eat your food, you have to finish the plate. It's very cultural, okay? That's why when you visit Puerto Rico or someone in Puerto Rico, they all gonna offer you soda, they're gonna offer you coffee, they're gonna offer you cookies and cheese, they're gonna offer you food, real food, like the whole meal, okay? And then if they offer to you, say yes, you finish it all. You better finish it all. Or just a little bit, just put a little bit, but because you have to finish the coffee, you have to finish the food. It's very traditional. It's very disrespectful to the house owner, okay, if you do not. And I'm just warning you right now. So, you don't have to eat tonight if you don't feel like it. Let me just say that. You just try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to finish it. But if you like it and you want to learn more, I'm going to send you emails. And also, I don't know if they pass this around. I don't want to touch it because Muy bien. So, el adobo yo creo que está allá.
Género probado, yes.
So these here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish the tomatoes, but I have some information that I wanna share with you. And I was taking some notes about traditional food, the influences in the foods in Puerto Rico, because we are, our native Puerto Ricans were indigenous Tainos, okay? And most of the recipes are influenced by the Tainos people in Puerto Rico before the Spain came and conquered, they invaded the island. So there were people living in there, and there were los Tainos. They look beautiful, just like me. What can I say? They were, the darker skin, this type of color, tan skin, straight hair, dark dark eyes, because of the sun exposure, okay? So we were not in technology advanced, but we were cooking. We were eating mostly, root vegetables and whatever we can gather, okay? We can hunt. So, but then when Spain came along, like the 1400s, Spain came to Puerto Rico, and they brought other ingredients. So we already were eating cassava, yuca, root vegetables, pumpkin, corn. So when Spain came into Puerto Rico, they brought with them garlic. They brought also the potatoes. They brought there's something else that they brought here. Cilantro herb. The cilantro herb is not it's not from Puerto Rico. It was brought to Puerto Rico by the Spaniards. Okay. So then along with Spain, later on, African slaves came to Puerto Rico by force. Okay. They weren't on vacation. They were brought to Puerto Rico. So when Africans came into Puerto Rico, more ingredients were mixed and infused into our recipes. So now we have coconut added to our recipes. Also the famous method of frying. So frying cooking came from Africans, and that's their traditional cooking method, and it was implemented in Puerto Rico once they came as slavery, in the island. So it's a mix of Tainos, the indigenous people in Puerto Rico, mostly root vegetables and corn, what we grew in Puerto Rico, and then later when Spain came in uninvited, and they brought what we know as peppers, potatoes, garlic, cilantro, and then slavery came and they brought the coconut and the frying method. Another ingredient that Tainos use very often was the guava. It's one of our fruits. It's very flavorful and very versatile, ingredient. Today it's very famous all over, and everybody I love guava. Muy bien, so ya estamos friendo los totones. Oh, mayo ketchup, that's right, I forget my part. I'm not a cook, you see that, Lee. Muy bien, so, bien importante, I'm going to say it in Spanish really quick while I'm doing that. So, bien importante, Puerto Rico, la comida de Puerto Rico, los ingredientes de las recetas de Puerto Rico viene siendo una mezcla de infusión de tres culturas diferentes, ¿ok? Nosotros originalmente somos indígenas taínos, que somos la gente nativa de Puerto Rico, los indios, ¿verdad? Ya estábamos ahí cuando vino España en 1493. España vino a colonizar, ¿verdad? Y ahí fue que trajeron otros ingredientes como el cilantro, el ajo, las papas, y ahí se fue formando. Y luego, sin ellos querer, trajeron a los africanos como esclavos, y ya ahí se van mezclando lo que es el coco y también el método de cocción de freír. Eso fue inventado por los africanos, ¿ok? Y ahí es que mayormente sale toda la receta. In our cooking, there's nothing that goes to waste. We use everything in the kitchen. So that's why we use the head of the chicken, we use the feet of the chicken, we use everything. We cook everything. Jessica, ¿qué se hace con las patas de gallina?
Eso la ponen, yo no sé, la hierven, se la chupan.
So they actually eat it. So the chicken feet.
O hacen la echan en la sopa.
We cook it as a soup.
Ay, pero no todo el mundo.
Not everybody.
No, yo no me como la pata de gallina.
Sí, las patas de gallina,
Me
the
comeré
chicken feet.
después, pero la pata de la gallina no.
We eat the head, we eat the neck, we eat the feet of the chicken, okay, we eat all that. Yes, we eat the liver, we eat the heart, we eat all everything, we eat everything. And from the pork, another story, I can tell you everything. So we eat even the feet. So the ears, we eat the ears, we eat the tongue. Okay, so there's no waste. You know why? Because again, this is food for poor people, poor communities. Okay, as I'm telling you, the history of Puerto Rico, we were doing what we could with what we had available. Okay, so en la historia de Puerto Rico nosotros hicimos lo que pudimos con lo que teníamos y mucho de eso tiene que ver la cocina y lo que utilizamos. So a lot of recipes, a lot of the recipes, the Latino recipes, especially Puerto Rican recipes, and equipment that we use come, you know, from our culture, right? Our history. So one of the things that do I have one here? I left it at home. So one of the things that we use is very famous, very iconic from Puerto Rico is the famous pilón. Pilón is So the pilón is a very unique from Puerto Rico. So this is a pilón. This is a beautiful pilón. So it's a model of peso. So this is, you know, this is what you use, okay? So this is my, ¿qué cosa aquí, Jessica? Mofongo, ¿verdad?
Aquí,
What are you doing here? Es la mofongo.
nosotros no seguimos aquí el ajo.
Garlic, that's why you smash, you mash the garlic in there for any recipe. So, I mean, this is made of wood, okay? Esto es madera, como bambú, ¿qué es esto? Madera, ¿verdad? You know,
Nosotros freímos esto y lo echamos aquí y lo machacamos.
So you want to show them? You want to show them?
No, porque you have to fry it. Later, I'll show you later. Let me fry
So what you do with this is like you fry it, you know, the pieces of green plantain. This is how to make mofongo. So you fry it out of those spaghetti acid, okay? ¿Qué es lo que hacen? Tú lo y lo pones aquí. Okay, so you're gonna fry it. You're gonna cut it, fry it, and instead of smashing it with this, you know, aplastarlo, you're gonna put it in here. And then you cannot do it with something else. It has to be with this. I don't know why. ¿Verdad, Jessica? Que no sale con nada más, tiene que ser con pilón. No sale con nada más, tiene que ser con el pilón. Porque si no, la receta no sale. Like, you know, don't come with a spoon and a cup because it's not gonna come out. No va a salir. I promise you. So that's how you make it. ¿Qué más tú le echas al mofongo, Jessica?
aceite, ajo.
So while you're doing the exercise, you put butter, garlic, butter, garlic,
y adobo.
and adobo. And then you say, that's how you do it. I mean, you're gonna have the shape of the pilón. So it's gonna have this shape when you. ¿Cómo tú lo sacas, Jessica? ¿Así? ¿Cómo tú lo sacas? Así.
Así, si lo hago una
Okay.
bonita.
Sometimes they make a little bowl, some mofongo bowls. So that's very easy. So if you have kids at home, have them do the bowl. Little bowls, have them cook for you. Little kids, they love to do that. Muy bien. ¿Qué más
Ya
me
está
falta?
todo.
Yeah, everything is done. We're gonna eat, okay? I'm gonna make the famous, very famous mayo ketchup. Don't buy the one that is already mixed. Mix it yourself at home. It doesn't taste the same. So half and half, and a little bit of garlic powder. That's it.
Puedes usar garlic
Puede ser algo fresco, ¿verdad? Could be fresh garlic.
Eso es lo mejor.
And that's it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start serving food. So nosotros le vamos a servir, ¿verdad? Yes. So we're gonna start serving food. So ¿qué hacemos? El arroz. Sí, tráelo. In this table. Está por aquí.
When you're preparing a dinner, a meal, would the meal traditionally only be the beans, let's say the chicken, and the salad, and that's it?
All of this. This is a regular, everyday meal. I'm not kidding. That's why I don't cook. The salad, the tostones, the beans, the chicken. And it takes a process, as we were saying, if you're in school, could be elementary school, okay? Elementary school. Your responsibility as a kid is to remove the meat, the one that your mom told you. from the freezer to the refrigerator or in the counter. You put it in the counter and start the rice. You have to start the rice. If your mom comes from work and the rice is not done, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. So that's why each family member has a duty. You see how these kids start opening that plantain? And I said, like, make it easy. I have the frozen version. And he's like, no, fresh, because he's used to that. My mom didn't, so I'm not used to that. That's the difference, and that's why they train the kids, because that's a role, and that's very important because we feel important. We feel that we have a special role in the family. That without me, the family won't run the same. And it's true, he's gonna start the food, and they have a food business, so it's even better. So I think. So, but yes, no, all of these steaks are regular meal. It's hot. All of these steaks are regular meal. Okay, so we're gonna serve food now. Any food allergies that I should start asking you in the beginning? No alergias, ¿verdad? No hay alergias, ¿verdad? No allergies, okay. So there's not a special measure for this.
That's about right.
Toda la sal.
Yeah.
That's it. Like in the classes, in my professional classes I teach, I always like hello. So I always, I forget to mention it. I'm always doing my eye. So what do you do? What are you taking there? Tell us. Rose's business here, right?
Yes.
So when can they find you? When or where?
You can find me on my website, jumpjackjerky.com. It's Jack, J-A-S. But yeah, I launched about 2 months ago. It's been crazy.
Excellent. I tried the one that you gave me and it was really good. I've been working out. Yes. This is my comeback. Thank you. Have a good night. Another business. This kid comes, faithfully to work on his, Muy bien. So there's, ¿cuántos negocios tenemos ya, Chelsea, here at Click? How many businesses are here? 29. Wow. 29. There's 8 more coming. Gracias. So, yo soy un poquito. That's it. Okay. So it's our salad. Literally, this is how it looks like every time. You said salad to Puerto Rican, this is what comes to your mind. Okay? That's it. So nothing fancy. And this is not a meal. Okay? This is a side. So the rice, the beans, and the chicken are the main dish. Okay? The equal parts. So don't think about my plate right now. Don't think about the portion. So Puerto Ricans, they just serve, ¿verdad, Jessica? So no puedes pensar en las porciones, es igual de arroz, igual de habichuelas, igual de carne. Like todo igualito. There's no like a little bit, no. Sometimes the family members, they have requests. We do not listen to requests. ¿Verdad, Jessica? Todo el mundo come lo que se cocina y todo el mundo le toca igual. And back in the days, if you were about to eat, right, and the mother served the food, and you get a piece of pork chop, piece of pork chop. My house were 3 girls, right? But then the visitor comes, and you haven't finished that portion. You haven't finished that portion. Guess where that portion goes? Damn it. To the guests. Honestly, so it's very usual for Puerto Ricans to start eating the meat first. Yes, because back in the days, if you're eating the meat and your meat's on the plate, it goes to the guests. Because remember, not eating in the house is very disrespectful for the people. You have to drink. If you're not hungry, you better ask for water. Okay? ¿Verdad, Jessica? I love to get invited to Puerto Rican houses. Daniel, ¿verdad que sí? Que nos han comido en toda la casa. I love it. I love when I visit Puerto Rican. It's very cultural. Food in Puerto Rico is a huge thing. La comida en Puerto Rico es algo bien grande. Most of business owners are food business. Food is really, so, la mayoría de los dueños de negocios en Puerto Rico son comidas. We are very creative, muy creativos, la manera de hacer todo esto, okay? I have very important information for you. I was reading, I was studying for this class, and I was reading about, I was curious about how many Puerto Ricans in the United States versus Puerto Rico. There's about 5 million here in the United States and only 3 million in Puerto Rico. More Puerto Ricans in the United States than Puerto Rico. Huh? There's many of us. Muchos, son 3 millones en Puerto Rico, acá somos 5 millones. No por ver. Muy bien. So, mi gente, I'm just joking, but there's many of us. That's why most of the restaurants and food are being influenced by Puerto Ricans because this is what we do the most and we do it well. So every region, even though Puerto Rico you go around for hours, okay? In a day you go around the whole island. Different regions, different recipes, okay? So if you go and you ask for tostones in the west area, in the east we will be patacón. They call it different, okay? And you're just an hour away. Muy bien. So any questions so far? ¿Alguna pregunta? Muy bien, okay. Ahora vamos a probar la comida, la mejor parte. This is the best part.
A Chelsea le gusta.
A Chelsea le gusta así. So Jessica, they're all yours. You tell them whatever you want to say because I know I take over. This is Jessica's class.
When
Okay, yes, my part. It is so difficult. So let's just do very, very difficult. This is okay, espérate. Never gonna come out. Nunca va a salir. So bien difícil. Esta es la receta más difícil que hay. And again, you want to measure. Sí, por favor. So you're gonna, make my life easier. So get these bottles that are easier to get. So cuentas hasta 10. Muy bien, muy bien. De un lado primero. Knife works for everything. You see, that's our technique. Gracias. So for that, we're gonna add a little bit of garlic powder. ¿Que tiene que estar en enero? Sí, podemos usar eso. Okay, and then you're gonna count to 10 again. Half and half. Muy bien. So a little bit of garlic. Listen, this is half and half. Okay, that's all you're gonna do. Some people like a little bit more ketchup more than mayonnaise. Again, this is not a healthy recipe, so it's not, But we're gonna add a little bit of garlic powder. You want some because you want the flavor of it, okay? And then, if not, you use the fresh garlic. Yeah. So then you mix. Special technique for this. And then you're gonna judge by the color. It must be a specific color, ¿verdad, Jessica? Tiene que ser un color específico. Más mayonesa, ¿verdad? Too dark. You see, too dark. Needs to be lighter. De verdad, esto es lo que llama. Oh, muy bien. So a little bit more. Should I get helmets, pero. I think that's what it is, right? Dianisi con sus especiales. Muy bien.
Es más espesa.
Ahora es más espesa. Ahora that one is more watery. Muy bien. It looks better. Jessica, mejor. Mejor, ¿verdad? Perdón, Jessica.
Es para que pruebe de ahí. Es para que pruebe de ahí.
Muy bien. Ya esto está. So this is just to top the that doesn't go on the salad or anything. That's for the tostones. You want me to show you how to do it on the tostones? Okay, so you just take a tostón. We're gonna take a tostón, and literalmente, this is what we do. I'm not kidding, okay? So dame un platito de ese, So this is, again, this is not a main dish. This is the side, one of the sides. So you have rice, beans, chicken. You will see chicken, a little bit of salad, tostones, and that's your complete meal, okay? This is your vegetable. This is your vegetable. So just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And honest, I'm not kidding. This is how you eat it. Some people just like the sizzle on top of it. Pero verdad que no estoy mintiendo. Muy bueno. Muy bueno. Muy bueno. muy de moda.
Tienes que echar el chico mayonesa. Echar el de esto.
Pero que la mayonesa no.
Esta mayonesa no es la buena.
No, mayonesa, es que dice crema.
Ya, yo tenía que traer la Hellman. Lo hice mal. You need to know, you need to practice. You see, my mom, she didn't teach me. She didn't train me. A culpa de mi mamá no me enseñó. Muy bien, ahora, now it's looking better. This is the real color. This is the real color. Okay, now. So just put a little bit, okay? Hasta por los tones. So it's a different taste. Sour. Muy bien. So, ¿cómo hacemos esto? Yes. This is optional, so I'm gonna leave it here to at the end. You grab if you like. Okay, you put on top of your Is that I'm gonna feed
Too
everything in
much,
this
too
little
much
plate.
food for it. It's so small.
Let me see if I
¿Esto para qué?
can. No, o sea, esto, simplemente el arroz y el arroz y el pollo aquí y los tostones de ensalada allá.
No digas la habichuela.
El arroz y la habichuela encima aquí. A ver, la habichuela aquí.
No, la que me mandan ese y el otro de ensalada.
No se le
No,
gusta.
yo
Ensalada aquí que... No.
You make it work.
Repiten.
So what? It's just a little bit, you know, it's just a thing. Again, another Puerto Rican cultural aspect. We cook a lot for everybody. Like, you're not gonna go hungry, you know? So it was supposed to be just a taste. Now it became a meal. So, se supone que fuera un poquito nada más, pero ahora tenemos una cena completa, ¿ok? Pero nosotros comemos un plato doble del grande que ese, so we eat in a plate double of that size. Okay, that's what we have here in the room. Don't get confused, okay? So we use our plate. ¿Sabes? Yo creo que tenemos unos platos más grandes, pero no, para nada. So what I'm gonna do is they're gonna serve the rice and beans and meat in that little plate, okay? You can just come and get it. ¿Cómo tú quieres decir? ¿Que yo lo vaya a recoger? ¿Que yo pegue eso? Ok, perfecto. Muy bien. So, muy bien. O sea, gonna serve it. Sí, échale, o échalo en la ensalada, ¿qué tú crees? O pónselo encima. Yo recibo la ensalada. Yes, please. Yes, please. Todo ahí mismo en esa mesa, lo pueden coger de ahí mismo. Ay, gracias. Mira, tengo unos platitos más grandecitos. ¿A qué más va? Oh. Now we're ready. Okay, can I put this?
Yes, this way.
And this?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, two more please.
Okay. Can I have one of these? Thank you. Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Doris, if you still are you still can you hear me?
Yes.
There's a book.
Well, let me serve you some.
You can see it. Puerto Rican cookery.
Looks so good.
Thank you.
Okay, and the author's name is Carmen Aboy
Right on. Oh,
Huli.
Yes, because you know we don't have much
thank you.
space on that plate.
Not to know Spanish.
Massive plates.
She also wrote this in Spanish. Cocina Criolla.
Yeah.
They're very good. I don't cook it this way.
Buen provecho. It's what we say in Puerto
I
Rico. Buen
Americanized
provecho.
it.
We can eat this.
You can eat it. Yes, it's strong flavor.
I wait until someone else can cook it for me.
I haven't done it in a long time, but maybe I'm gonna have to do that. I have to
Not in the
getting guinea pigs so I can practice again.
That's good.
It's every day. Hay que
Because
animar.
it's been years.
Venga para acá, por favor, venga a comer. Venga, venga. Venga para acá. Venga.
I can't hear with
I'm glad you like it.
All that sound.
the chatter that's going on.
I can't have cilantro. I'm allergic.
Ah,
So I use parsley leaves. I chop up and I use that sweet
yeah, they work.
family without having that cilantro. So I can't. I found out I'm allergic to it. You can make substitutions in this kind of meal.
Too bad we can't sample Zoom.
I know. We would have to have shown up, and there was no way I could get here tonight. So
No, I wasn't willing to.
I don't go out at that late. You know.
Yep.
I can't drive that way.
Yes,
I
yes,
gotta
yes.
come back. for
You
that.
can come back, yes.
I gotta come back.
There's a little table over there. When I use the table, feel comfortable. There's more tables in
And
the
the
back. There's tables in the back. You can use the table
the
as you like.
plantain,
No problem at all.
that sauce that you made, you can use it as a dip instead of putting it on.
Yeah,
Like you would a
that
French
makes
fry,
sense.
like you would a French fry. You can always make a sweet plantain using a sweet
There's
banana.
any question online?
You can make that kind of a thing as a sweet banana.
Una pregunta. Any question online?
The plantain is
Mira, la
banana, you can
mi amor, y agua.
well on the side. And it's
¿Quieres?
still a fruit or a vegetable, you'd still have that
Mhm.
banana. It's quite tasty.
I've only had it a couple times.
Yeah. And I put I don't use the dip. I just put a sprinkle of salt on it on the plantain, like I would a French fry.
Mira, con confianza.
My mother went from deep frying it into sautéing.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, so that-
Saute it and then, finish it in an
Cook
oven
it
or,
a little bit. You cook it a little bit, and you don't have to deep fry. Too much rice.
yep.
So chicken that way, it's healthy. Well, she announced one day, my mother announced one day that she wasn't going to do fried foods anymore. We're not doing, we were
Yep.
teenagers, There's no more fried foods. So they can cook for you.
I wish I could turn off the people in the kitchen and then I could really hear you.
Yeah, I understand you're having difficulty. Me too. Danitza. Can I talk to Danitza? Is somebody hearing me?
It doesn't sound like they're hearing you.
Yep, yep. No, we don't either.
So again, if you are interested, dame 5 puntos de arroz y lleva. Dale primero y a la nena.
Mira, ahora mi favorito allí.
Chelsea is the coordinator. Chelsea?
He's not hearing.
No.
It looks like Chelsea's almost saying goodbye to everybody on Zoom. You look at the chat.
Oh, sorry. Let's see.
¿Dónde está ella? Ven aquí. Está bien. Mira, Dianisi, entonces le ofrecieron, tienen Rincon.
Roast chicken.
Mira, ¿dónde está ella? ¿De que venga?
Y tienen que buscar venta para pegar aquello de ahí. Y una bolsa para botar en la foto.
Con permiso. I don't know how to say napkins in Spanish. Do you have
Servilleta.
There's some right here.
Oh,
For that, whatever.
Thank you.
More beans?
More beans? Oh, yeah. Is there extra rice? You need more beans. Always. Yes. It has to be, I'm telling you, it has to be eat everything equal parts. Because you eat rice and beans and a little bit of chicken, rice and then a little bit of salad, and then toston, like that. A little bit of everything in your mouth.
The beans usually go over the rice or next to the rice.
It depends. Some people do not like it over it, or they want it next to it. But most people, they put it because you mix it all together. This is what I do. Let me show you my plate. You see that usually when they serve it, and we don't eat with spoons, you know, right? We eat it with forks.
Right.
Always, right? So they put it like that, right? So this is what we do. We just mix it all together. And then some people do these are great things. Perfect color, perfect texture, perfect. Look at those calabazas. Huh? Look at those calabazas that I bet they will fall in your mouth. ¿Verdad que sí? Yes, very, very Puerto Rico. Very Puerto Rico. Gracias, Jessica. Thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you for your family. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Yes. Thank you so much. Me está llamando para otro. Oh, ya. We got more tostones. There's more beans, more rice. Let's see who needs some. Yes. Bueno. Muy bien. Buen provecho. ¿Tienen agua ahí? Water. Me está llamando a mí.
Para la promoción esa de ayer, ¿qué es una idea? La que te mencionaba, que tú llenaste.